At dawn, she was still smouldering, but mangled beyond salvation. That morning, someone remarked, "This is like the wrong end of Skittle Alley." Soon, it became Bomb Alley. HMS Antelope broke and sank. 2 more men were dead. The next day, Tuesday the 25th of May, while we braced ourselves for another onslaught,
ashore as British troops dug in, they too came under repeated air attack.
the Argentine planes were still being hacked out of the sky. Watch the one in the background.
They came in again. Bombs thunder into the water yards from our ships. Two rockets are fired, chasing across the sky.
The Royal Navy seized the opportunity to repair the ships which had been damaged. Sir Galahad, one of the troop carriers hit in an earlier raid, was able to move in close to unload hundreds of tons of ammunition stored aboard. The Lancelot, another of the class, with an unexploded bomb on board, was towed past to a new anchorage. With fewer ships remaining, the Commodore was anxious to gather them into a better defensive formation, and the little landing craft took on the role of tugs. On Lancelot's deck were some of the vehicles still needed. The landing had been mounted with just sufficient stores. The loss of a single load would be a major setback for the troops ashore. Lancelot's side showed how lucky she'd been. There was a gash where one bomb had bounced off. Another had struck and done considerable damage, but she'd survived. A big Chinook helicopter arrived to help with the unloading. The size of a flying bus, it has the capacity to carry 40 men, or a light tank slung beneath. The final stage of making the task force properly self-sustaining was setting up a fuel dump. Big rubber tanks, they're called fuel pillows, were pumped up with petrol and swung across to the shore. On Fearless, 2 Argentine prisoners provided evidence that the British troops were on the move. They'd been spotted and ambushed by paratroopers as they drove along in a Land Rover. These 2 surrendered. Another died of his wounds. In the subdued light below deck, they stood apprehensively under the guard of armed sentries as a naval interpreter explained what would happen to them. They had few possessions: bullets, guns, some photographs, cigarettes and matches, and oddly, a 2-kilogram pack of margarine which had been nibbled at. There was now a trickle of prisoners coming back to the ships. Blindfolded, they'd been confused by travel in helicopters and boats before being unmasked in the half-light below deck in Fearless.
Low red lighting was used anywhere it might spill out into the open. White light would give away the ship's position after dark. The ship's commander was anxious lest souvenir hunters steal any of his captives' belongings.
That's got to be all stolen quickly as well, right? Where's my one?
Get that marine in the ferry to come over there, stalking down, take charge of it. Take it up to the brigade int room, the back of the gun. Starts.
Yeah. Okay.
Well done, Phil.
All right. Okay.
The British were now beginning to distinguish between their opponents, the officers and the NCOs, as tough and professional as the British Army.
Where are you from? You speak English?
And the conscript soldiers, plucked from country villages, pressed into a war they didn't want.
Ashore, and their own Sea-Cat missiles aboard our own ship, HMS Fearless. Sophisticated electronic watchdogs to protect us all. It's odd then that we get the greatest comfort from the old Second World War Bofors guns by the bridge. The crew on Bofors port gun have already claimed 2 hits and another probable, and we want to believe them. Up on the decks now, almost as an afterthought, general-purpose machine guns have been mounted by Royal Marines commandos as additional air defense. Odd, we thought, with so many millions of pounds worth of missiles around us, that such a makeshift weaponry should be necessary. But fired together and in the same direction, and a pilot would have to fly through a wall of lead.
Tuesday, Independence Day, Argentina launched another major airstrike. The British commanders had seriously underestimated the Argentine Air Force, committing its planes and its pilots with an almost reckless willingness. One was shot down over Fearless and ended up bobbing in the water a few hundred yards away. A landing craft was sent to pick him up. Pieces of his cockpit canopy showered down on the deck. The young gunners had their first trophy. The pilot was brought into the big dock at the back of Fearless, the ship he'd just been trying to bomb. As the medical orderlies moved in, he stopped being an enemy everyone had been trying to kill, became instead a man in pain, needing urgent treatment.
Yeah, that's all good just to keep it stable now. Right, let's get him away now.
They gave him a shot of morphine and scrawled a big M on his forehead to prevent overdosing. The Argentine pilots impressed everyone with their skills and a bravery that verged on foolhardy. According to this man, the squadrons were moved about in Argentina to prevent them knowing the losses. And they weren't told about the weight of the anti-aircraft fire, nor the success of the Sea Harriers in intercepting. About half of them were not coming back.
He has a little orange neck thing that he's very fond of, doesn't want to lose it. For info.
He has got a complete fore and aft dislocation of his left knee, probably rupturing some of his thigh muscle. He had a dislocated left kneecap patella bone, which I've reduced the dislocation. We've now wrapped him up. He's got a nasty lot of bleeding around the joint. He will probably be in plaster for 2 to 3 months, I think, at the minimum, if they don't operate on him immediately.
What's going to happen to him now?
Well, I believe he'll be very lucky if he's flying jet aircraft again, but of course his skills are such that he may well be able to fly non-jet aircraft. I suspect, you see, that he did that ejecting through the hatchway of the canopy of the aircraft.
The container ship Atlantic Conveyor had joined up with the main task force before sailing on to San Carlos Bay with her cargo. Exocets launched against the carriers destroyed her instead. She'd been carrying helicopters badly needed by the landing forces. It was a serious blow. 12 men dead.
And attack 22 frigate Broadsword with its modern radar.
On the 25th of May, we were attacked by simply 2 pairs of A4 Skyhawk aircraft. Luck or no luck, we were hit by one bomb aft, which passed right through the ship, having bounced off the sea, but it did not explode.
The same day, HMS Coventry, sister ship to the Sheffield, was bombed and sank within an hour. 19 dead.
El sonido de este cassette fue grabado en el Broadsword, uno de los buques atacados por los aviones argentinos.
Ataque aéreo 1-9. Parece que el Coventry ha recibido un impacto en el port side. El Coventry ha explotado.